Hey everyone, JC here. This video is about the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. Specifically, Amber Heard's lawyer, Elaine, came up with a statement yesterday, I believe. And basically, she said, yeah, we're going to appeal the decision. And I just want to go over the article. The article I saw is from CNN, so there could be multiple versions of it, of course. But before we do that, I just want to say, like, first of all, I followed most of the trial. It was 6 weeks long, but remember they had a week off, so it's actually 5 weeks. And during the 5 weeks, we saw like a host of people, right? I mean, Johnny Depp's witnesses were like professionals, either agents or some kind of financial people. Um, they had a social network guy who was pretty good actually, and then later they had people like Kate Moss, etc. Basically, Kate Moss was just really there for one question and one question only. Anyway, Amber Heard though had a collection of kind of random weirdos that often actually didn't help her case. Like if you watch the trial and if you actually listen to what these witnesses are saying, um, usually the witness is supposed to reinforce your position. It's supposed to make your case stronger, and that was just not the case at all. Some of them actually made her case weaker. It kind of begs the question, like, why did she call them up to the stand? I mean, maybe she didn't know what they would say, but a lot of these video depositions are old, like they were pre-recorded 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years ago. So obviously she knew the content of the depositions. You know that it's not going to help you, and yet you still parade it. It's kind of strange, very strange strategy. And yeah, my opinion of the whole trial was, Depp was always very composed and very focused, and clearly, like, before the trial, the lawyers probably told them, okay, look, the lawyers from each team are gonna try to get under your skin, like, don't let them get to you. And Depp said, duly noted. Amber Heard, on the other hand, she probably said, nah, it's fine, I'll improvise. And we all know how that went. Not very well. So before I go into the CNN article, I just want to go over a couple of things here. So the interesting thing is, usually when you're talking about, accusations like that, like let's say a woman claims that, she's been beaten and, verbally abused and psychologically abused, etc. Usually women in the world, even like just completely unrelated, but as long as they're women, as long as they have vagina, they kind of band on one side of the coin, right? So they all support the woman. They don't have to know her. They just kind of support her because, women support women. But if you look at this particular case, I know, like, because I was reading the comments and I was reading the Twitter comments, etc. There's a lot of women, and in fact, I have female friends, and it's the same thing. Even they said that there's something really, really off with Amber Heard's stories. Like, there's something fishy going on there. We don't believe her. We don't trust what she's saying. And that's, I mean, okay, if a man says it, it's like, okay, well, obviously, again, man bends with man, right? But if a woman is saying, like, that she's lying and she's not telling the truth, that is very telling that something is off, definitely. So, and then, they started making memes like for example, Amber Heard is basically an embarrassment to actual victims of domestic violence. And it's like, okay, I can see that. The next one I just want to go over first is actually Amber Heard's reaction, because actually this is first anyway. So this is Amber Heard's Instagram post right after the trial. Let's just see what she says. So the disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband. Now, that is not accurate, of course. What do you expect? It's Amber Heard. Nothing she says can be, you have to take everything she says with a grain of salt, sometimes with a big grain of salt. So she says that basically, Johnny Depp, so he's this, first of all, she makes out Johnny Depp like, he's Vladimir Putin or something. Like he's a world leader with a lot of power and influence. Like he controls politicians and affects policies in the world. Johnny Depp is an actor. Yeah, he's rich, sure. He has a lot of properties, but he is not what you say he is. So that's not true. And basically, yeah, she says that the jury was basically swayed because Depp is, powerful, rich, etc. And that is a lie. That is once again a lie. So Amber Heard continuing the chain of lies. That's what she does best. I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. It is a setback. It sets back the clock to a time when a woman who spoke up and spoke out could be publicly shamed and humiliated. It sets back the idea that violence against women is to be taken seriously. Not at all. We absolutely know that violence against women is a real thing and we should take it seriously. However, you did not make a strong case for that. In fact, I would argue that you made a case that truly embarrasses actual victims of domestic violence. Performance was so bad, it was so coached, it was so rehearsed, and it was so fake, and it came across as fake. And jury members, don't like to be lied to. That I know for a fact. I believe Johnny's attorney succeeded in getting the jury to overlook the key issue of freedom of speech and ignore evidence that was so conclusive that we won in the UK. Wow, okay, there's a lot to unpack in this statement. All right, first of all, she's blaming the jury. Yeah, so it's not my fault and it's not really Johnny's fault. It's the jury's fault. It's your fault. Now, this point is actually important because if they're going to appeal, that means that there's going to be a new jury, right? Now, the new jury, I mean, okay, so the old jury, the original jury, they were told to, not pay attention to social media and, don't talk to friends really, etc., etc. Don't talk about the case. Now, personally, I find it very hard to believe that they did that because we're surrounded by social media and, people talk to us all the time. But okay, let's say that they didn't pay attention to like 95% of it. So 5% slipped through, but 95 they didn't. Okay, but the new jury, they've seen everything. They've seen your antics, they've seen people reaction, they've seen people analyzing body language, etc., etc. And on top of that, you just said that you blame the jury. Now that's gonna go down really well with the next jury. Trust me, that's gonna be like really hilarious to watch. Anyway, then she goes on, and this is kind of the classic get out of jail free card. She says, "Oh, I don't have freedom of speech. My freedom of speech was taken away from me." Again, this is a lie. Nobody took her freedom of speech away. She sat there for 5 weeks because 1 week was holiday. She sat there. She told her stories. The bottom line is nobody really believes you, Amber. That's the truth. I'm sad I lost the case, but I'm sadder still that I seem to have lost the right I thought I had as an American to speak freely and openly. Again, this is 100% a lie. Nobody took her freedom of speech away. She sat there, she had her chance to talk, she talked a lot, okay? I know there were some interruptions here and there, sometimes more than others, but overall, she had a lot of time to talk. She told all the stories, and I still use this reference. Like, there was this movie, right, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and basically, if you haven't seen the movie, like, trust me, you didn't miss much. Okay, like, it's not a very good movie. But in the movie, it's basically Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt. They're in some house, I think, and basically, like, they're just fighting that starts. Like, people start shooting, etc., invading their house. Uh, it goes on for quite a while, like maybe half an hour or something. Then there's like 5 minutes of dialogue, and then it just restarts fighting, fighting, fighting for like half an hour. Things flying everywhere, bullets flying everywhere. Then again, it stops. There's another 5 minutes of dialogue, and the final 30 minutes of fighting, fighting, fighting. Basically, what Amber Heard stories seemed like to me is just that. Like, it literally seems that she watched that movie and thought, huh, that's actually a pretty good movie to get a story from. So let's go for that. And I'm like, this is just, come on, this is ridiculous. So let's talk about the article now. I'm just gonna make myself smaller. Okay, so let's go through the article, and I'll just, stop and comment if I find something interesting. So first of all, the headline: Amber Heard attorney, which is Elaine, says Depp had advantages of wealth, power, fame during trial. And this is like true to some extent. I mean, yeah, he's more powerful in a way. He's definitely more rich than her, and definitely more famous. I mean, Amber Heard, like, I know that she was his ex, but apart from that, I don't know anything about her. And I only learned more about her as the trial went on. Oh, she does modeling. Oh, she was in a couple of TV shows. Oh, she was in a couple of movies. But I've never watched any of that shit, so I don't know if she's good or not. But according to many people who worked with her, I mean, okay, maybe not the modeling thing, but basically, like Aquaman, right? They said they had no chemistry on the screen. They had to make up the chemistry in post production, which is not like very unusual, but like it's annoying because it takes extra work. You need like a really good editor, and obviously that means you're paying more money because good editors get paid more than, say, an average editor. So okay. Anyway, so the lawyer of Amber Heard says she believes the jury in defamation case brought against the actress by Johnny Depp was confused, and Heard plans to appeal this verdict. So, okay, um, was confused. So again, we're gonna blame the jury. That's a smart move. Both Hurt and Depp were found liable for defamation on Wednesday in dueling lawsuits against each other. The jury, however, awarded significantly more damages to Depp. So that's true. They, like, as far as I understand, the verdict was they both defamed each other. But while the jury believed Depp's stories, they did not believe Amber's stories, or Heard stories, I should say. So that's why the damages were like much bigger for on his side, right? So like she has to pay him more than he has to pay her. Appearing on Today, which is okay, I'll comment about that in a second. Appearing on Today, Heard's attorney Elaine Charlson brother said an enormous amount of evidence that would have helped Heard's case was suppressed during the trial. So this is interesting because during the trial, she, like, especially in the latter stages, there was, for example, the TMZ guy, and there was the guy from the trailer park hotel place. She kept badgering them, claiming that they're only there not to tell the truth, but to basically get their 15 minutes of fame. That's what she said. Sorry, I'm just gonna make this a little less loud. That's what she said. And this is funny because literally the day after the trial, she goes on the Today Show, and guess what she's doing? She's getting her 15 minutes of fame. Irony much? I mean, this is just like, this is fucked up. I mean, I know that Amber has issues, clearly. Like, we saw that, and we heard that from some doctors who, allege that she has mental issues like narcissistic disorder, uh, dual personality, or borderline personality disorder. I forgot which one they use specifically. One of them. So this is clearly a person with issues, and guess what? Like, these people, they kind of, again, they kind of band together. They find other people who have similar traits, and clearly, her lawyer has taken from Amber Heard because, hey, I'm gonna lie as well. I'm gonna pretend that, I'm gonna play the irony card. This is just ridiculous. In a subsequent interview with CNN, Bolden, Brithoft said the jury ruled in Depp's favor on each of his claims, in part because he had advantages of wealth, power, and fame. Again, if you're making a claim, you have the burden of proof is on you. As a lawyer, you should fucking know that, and you're making wild assertions without any evidence. Congratulations. I mean, seriously, like, a lawyer, like, should not be making these type of statements. I'm sorry, but just not. I think that made a huge difference in the case, but it also said we're not going to believe women even when they have photos, she said. Basically, unless she had pulled out her phone, her iPhone, and videotaped him as he was beating her, she's not going to be believed it didn't happen. No, what we're saying is that the photos that were shown in the trial are not very believable at all. Basically, Amber Heard said that, Johnny Depp like, literally destroyed her, like, just destroyed her physically, not just slapped her, but that was kind of her words, like, he destroyed me, and also he destroyed the property, like, okay, like a tornado went through there. Then you look at the photos, and it's like, okay, there's like a few cans in the corner somewhere, and that's it. Like, what is that? That's it? That's your, tornado that went. I mean, that is not my image of if a tornado went through my apartment. I can tell you that. Depp sued Heard for 50 million as he alleges that she defamed him with a op-ed. That was basically the case, what it's about. Depp was not referred to by name in Heard's piece, but he argued it cost him work, and that's basically that's what his team was pushing for. They said, yeah, okay, it's true that she didn't say, well, Johnny did this and this, but it was implied. Like, we're not idiots, we read stuff, and even if people are not named in the article, we know that it's implied. We know who she's talking about. We're not idiots. Like, they're treating us like fucking idiots, and we're not. That's the thing. She countersued him for 100 million over statements Depp attorney made in which he called her abuse claims a hoax. And again, that obviously was not proven because she got some money from the case. But definitely, I can see their argument. Like, okay, she painted, fake bruises on her face. They called the cops. They roughed up the place a little bit before the cops got there. Maybe spilled some wine on the floor. You'd think, like, okay, why would these people do that? Well, they would do that for money. For money. It's a very easy explanation. Even though she says, I didn't want anything, I really don't believe that statement yet again. The jury found that, so yeah, okay, we don't need to read that. So this is the award part here. They tried to reach out for attorney for Depp, but they declined. Plans to appeal. From the very beginning, the goal of bringing this case was to reveal the truth, regardless of the outcome. Speaking the truth was something that I owed to my children and to all those who remain steadfast in their support of me. Oh, that's what Depp said. Okay. Brehoff told CNN she felt a combination of cameras and a number of Depp fans who came to the courthouse for their former couple's defamation trial turned the courtroom into something that was like a coliseum. What? What? That's just ridiculous. Well, first of all, with the camera thing, right? Obviously, they both would have to have consented to it. You can't have like one party consent and then the other party not. They both have to consent. And I can see like why Depp would go for it because look, I mean he obviously lived with her. He knows what she's like, and most likely he knows that she's not a very good actress. So like it's very easy to expose her if she's actually on camera being grilled, especially by a great lawyer like Camille Vasquez, who was really great. Okay, um, but hey, the others were pretty good too, Ben Chu, etc. Like, but okay, I digress. So I can see like why he would want her on camera. Uh, but probably she wanted him on camera as well, just maybe to show that he's this kind of a bit slow guy, maybe a weak guy. Just it didn't work for her. Didn't work at all. I think some of it had to do with the amount of social media that was involved, the cameras in the courtroom. The fact that they had 100 Depp fans in there every day was like a coliseum as opposed to a dignified courtroom. I think all of those things had a negative influence here that caused this to be much more challenging and much more difficult. No, what caused this to be much more challenging is that Amber Heard is a terrible fucking actress who can't act. She did these fake tears, and people saw through that. People like I'm not a body language guy myself, but even I could see that, like definitely something is off with her. And that's why she lost ultimately. It's not because there were Depp fans in there. By the way, if you are into that counting, if you like numbers so much, then next time, try to get some of her fans. Like seriously, why why would anybody be an Amber Heard fan? That's the real question you should ask yourself. Just imagine being an Amber Heard fan. Like, why? Like, just watch. What has she done? I don't get it. Like, I know people follow like complete strangers over Instagram, etc., over absolutely nothing. Like, we don't know these people. We don't know anything about them other than their Instagram posts, and we just click on follow if we like some images. So I get that, but this is so shallow. And again, look, I don't want to say that because that is not very nice thing to say, but it's true though. What happens with women is that women, like especially women, they like to post a lot of images, right? And a lot of the images reveal a lot of skin, like, and reveal a lot of skin. You can interpret that the way you want. I mean, it can be legs, feet, maybe not feet on their own, but definitely legs, feet, cleavage, whatever. Like it's clearly it plays a role. Like it gives you extra points, let's say. So and then who are your followers in that case, really? Are they really like interested in your work, in your artistic posing, etc., or are they just coming to watch your pictures to basically masturbate to? That's a real question. I mean, that's a real question that people should think about. And I feel like a lot of women, because there's nothing there, like uh there's no author work, there's just maybe modeling work, maybe a couple of TV shows here and there, but there's really no like substance to attach yourself to. But hey, you know she looks nice in the pictures, so hey, gotta spank the monkey. I mean, I really wonder like what's the percentage of that happening. I think it's quite high. Berhoft also said that while she has no doubt that the jurors in the trial tried to adhere to the judge's instructions not to read any news about the trial, she felt it would have been difficult to block out all the places where discussions about this week-long trial were taking place. But reality is social media is everywhere. It was all over the TVs, the radios, the internet, everywhere. It was really hard to block that out. And since it was so vitriolic to Amber, I think it made a lot more difficult, Bredhoff said. Well, no, what made it difficult is Amber Heard's pathetic performance at the stand. That fake emotion she put into it, the fake tears, well, the lack of tears, I should say. Um, the inconsistencies in the stories, just not in her stories, but in other witnesses that were saying conflicting things about the stories. It's like, that's, people don't believe you. That's why you lost. That's it. Not, don't blame social media, don't blame the jury, because that is not going to play in your favor with the next jury. Trust me. As a lawyer, you should know that. Brehoff said Heard's appeal will partly focus on highlighting the information Heard. Oh, that's a really good one. Okay, she said that Heard's appeal will partly focus on highlighting the information Heard was not allowed to testify about during the trial that Depp's team objected to as hearsay. So what they want is, let's admit hearsay into evidence. That's what they want. So they know that basically they don't have a really good case. But but the hearsay, let's throw in some more fake stories, and that will tip the scales. Wow. Just wow. I don't question the judge's fairness. I think she's a very good judge. I've known her for a long time. That doesn't mean that I don't question rulings, and I do question rulings in this case, she said. Okay, all right. Well, obviously, like, I'm just like thinking, just wow. I mean, this is just ridiculous. You kept badgering with Depp's witnesses, like claiming that, oh, you're only here to get your 15 minutes of fame, aren't you? And then you go on these talk shows the day after the trial. You're a lawyer. Like, you're not supposed to be on the cameras. You're not supposed to be on TV, really. I mean, yeah, I know there's a couple of celebrity lawyers, but you're not one of them. Trust me. And anyway, she goes on these shows, and basically, like, she went back to being just a regular lawyer, working in the office or whatever. But she goes on TV. Why? To get her 15 minutes of fame. Because obviously she's going to milk the case. That's the thing about lawyers also, like, even if you lose the case, you can appeal the case, and this is maybe not good for the defendant or the one who's attacking, but this is always great for the lawyers because they're going to get paid, okay? No matter what. And so basically, her lawyers who are not good. Okay, let's be honest. There, she had three lawyers. So Elaine was one of them, and she had two guys. I forgot their names. I know one of them was Rottenborn. What a name, by the way, Rottenborn. I mean, like, seriously, you couldn't do better. Like, honestly. And then the other guy was like Needle House or something. I don't know. But anyway, it's not really important. All of them were pretty pitiful. They did a terrible job. They were just terrible. Elaine was probably like the worst of them all because uh, I think she's a one trick pony. She only has one line of questioning. I'm not going to say what it is, but if you pay me $100 an hour, I will totally tell you what your faults were and I will advise you on the next case. How about that? Anyway, that's it for this video. I know that this is not really kind of, there are definitely much more important things happening in the world, but the thing is, like, for me, I invested, like, literally watched almost all the trial, so like 5 weeks of it, and I probably missed a few hours here and there, but overall I did watch most of it. So I did invest a substantial amount of time into it, and you might say, oh, well, what a loser, just wasted your time. uh, you may be right, except there's one big but to this. And the big but is, I'm actually working on a video of my own story of domestic abuse, which was not physical in my case because it was a distance relationship. But there was definitely, verbal abuse and psychological abuse. And so I wanted to watch this trial because that's what this trial was about, essentially. So I wanted to see, how people argue their case, and it doesn't affect my story whatsoever. Trust me. Like, I already have my story. Like, it already happened, right? It's already done. Uh, but I just wanted to see this case, and also I wanted to use this actually in my own video later, just to kind of show what passes as evidence and what does not. So that for me was important to watch, and that's the only reason why I paid attention to it. Usually, I don't care about celebrity gossip whatsoever. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you find it interesting, and check out my other videos. It's mostly on climate change, etc. But anyway, very interesting stuff. Check it out, and I'll see you next time. JC signing off.